What's going on, guys? Bonafide Hustler here, coming to you with video 2 of Successful Habits for Life, Business, and Entrepreneurs. Yeah, I'm the Bonafide Hustler. I reside in Austin, Texas. I flip stuff that I find from garage sales, estate sales, yard sales, flea markets, pawn shops, swap meets, and I put it on places like eBay, Amazon, Craigslist, and my antique booth and consignment stores in town. In fact, I went to a consignment store today and picked up some money. Also, I am one of the co-founders of thegreenroomuniversity.com, which is a place where we teach how to make great money doing exactly what I do. In the show that we had last week, which was video 1, was a really good show. I disclosed a lot of really amazing information. I think you guys will like it. I'll try to link it somewhere around here. But this show is video 2, and I got 5 more tips for you guys. How to A, better your life, B, get more open to great opportunities, and C, should you choose to embark onto a business venture, at least you can keep these things in mind and go, okay, I'm pretty prepared for this, or I'm not prepared, or you can work on things. But I think this video is really going to help you guys out as well. All right, so we got some people in the house right here. We got Comfort Zone Studio, the random video maker, Glenn Mulero, who's basically Starbell. It's good to see everyone as usual. I can get to the very first thing. I want to make sure that my mic sounds good. Very important. And if we remember on the first video, I don't know if you saw it, but I did say that if you like this style of video, if you like the content, it is absolutely important to hit the like button, okay? Because when I look at my analytics of all the videos that I make on YouTube, the like button dictates which direction I kind of go. So if you like this type talk better than hauls or whatever, just hit the like button. I'll make video 3, video 4. So there were enough likes on the last video, and the like to dislike ratio was like, it just seemed like everyone really liked the video to where I thought today would be a great time to do video 2. So anyway, what's up, Timothy Grapp? What's up, Stephen Frederick? Loud and clear from Frankie Valley. It looks like I sound okay. That's good. There were some glitches before, and that's why I was 2 minutes late to getting on here, because YouTube or Google would not let my picture come through. Don't know why. So anyway, I've paid my bills, guys. I've paid my bills. Utah, GMA99, Grandma here. What is up? Okay. So the first thing I want to discuss, I think is very important, and that is in order to be successful at anything, you have to really be in constant realization of the opportunities that surround you every given day, or maybe even every single year, right? So allow me to elaborate about that. The reason why we did what we did at thegreenroomuniversity.com, we were just pickers. We were just resellers, and we did it very well, and we were just proficient, but we were in different parts of the country. I was in Austin. I met College Picker, who was in Florida. I met Young, who was in California, and I met Rakin, who was in Connecticut. So when it comes down to a physical business, I want you guys to think, like, when you're building a business these days, the whole physical aspect of having people in an office, I think, is slowly but surely fading away. Like, it's getting, unless you're working in like certain industries where that's absolutely necessary, I have a feeling that in 10 years, much like brick and mortar, we're going to be seeing office spaces getting leaner and leaner. And, that's the reason why, I don't know in big cities, but I don't know in your city, but in my city, there are rent office spaces, rent cubicle type buildings. It's just nothing but cubicles, but you rent the cubicle, has decent internet. There are places like that, and that exists. But 10 years ago, there weren't places like that. So I really feel as if this is telling us something, right? So when you have a great idea, the first thing is you have to be kind of constant realization of the opportunities that are around you to get this great idea out. We live in a very digital age, an age where everything, 80% of all traffic now just seems to be coming to one device that's in your hand. And the mobile phone is very, very important. So when we were doing what we did, we were like, how can we get the message out there? How can we get people to know what we do? And each one of us at different times came to YouTube and made videos. And that's the reason, that's how we all met, is we realized like-minded individuals find each other. It's just the way it is. We were positive people who liked experiences, liked the outdoors, loved the hustle. And that is how and why I bonded with those people, and let's say not other people in the reselling space. I just found myself attracted to these people. This was the core. And from there, we decided, like, what's the best vehicle to teach everyone what we know outside of the YouTube videos and everything like that. So we decided to form a Facebook group. Like I said, being in constant realization of the opportunities that are around you. I mean, clearly, almost everybody knows how to use Facebook. So we thought, doing a private group was the way to go, because I mean, obviously the entire it's like driving a car. Like everyone can just hop into someone else's car and just drive it around. So same thing with Facebook. Anybody can get on Facebook and just kind of know how to navigate. And that was definitely one of those ways that we could get our voice to the mobile device, was through Facebook. So it was very important to do it that way. And it's only getting crazier and crazier. Like they say, the desktop or the desktop revolution is slowly dying. And the only people that really use desktops or laptops are basically business and content creators only. Like when it comes to an average family in the USA, typically there's a tablet involved or just a cell phone, and that's pretty much it. It's kind of the same way with, like, look how many people have landlines and actual, phones in their house, real phones. We're talking 2.4 gigahertz, like Panasonic ones, what I'm talking about, on the charging cradle. Like hardly anybody has those anymore. So things get phased out, and you have to be willing to understand what's going on and be in constant realization of the opportunities that are around you in order to be great one day, right? Now, I'm not saying that we're great or anything, but I am saying that we are very cognizant of the environment that we are playing in. And we absolutely refuse to get outpaced, and we want to make sure that this thing could be in the most easily digestible form possible. And that's what we do. Now, if you relate it to what you're into, your business, and we'll get to some other things down here where you'll kind of figure out, like, okay, I see what he's saying. You got to think, like, what's the best vehicle to bring this to your end customer, right? And the second part is, think of your end customer backwards as well. Like, think about what the end customer wants, and then kind of cater your product towards that. So it's very, very important. And then also in this digital lifestyle that we live in, the big ad agencies, all that kind of stuff are on the huge decline right now, because marketing is almost free. If you have some sort of a personality, if you have some sort of drive, you can market on Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook. You can do all kinds of stuff. Facebook, you can do paid ads and everything, but marketing is so different these days, to where it's one of those things that can be run right out of the phone, right? Like right out of the phone. If you were to tell people 20 years ago, 10 years ago, hey, you'll be able to run your marketing campaign out of that phone, they'd be like, yeah, right, there's no way. But now you can do that. I mean, the phones are that legit, that smart. And, if you're not down with the smartphone generation or, the revolution, you got to up your smartphone, up your data plan, whatever it takes, get that thing maxed out, because that is the key to a lot of sales down the road. All right. So that was number one, being in constant realization of the opportunities that are around you at all times. Don't ever shut your eyes for anything. Of course, you got to blink because we're human beings, but don't ever shut your eyes. Like, take a look what people are messing with. You're going to probably see a ton of people on their phones. I mean, even in traffic, it's really sad, but people are looking at their phones. So you got to, even if no one was marketing on the phone, you have to look at that and go, that's an opportunity, because people's attention is so important. Once you get someone's attention, if your product is halfway decent, you'll be okay. Assuming that your company is not like going under or anything. Anyway, so let me go to number two. I want to ask you guys, like, how do you guys think about number one? Because number two is really interesting. I think it's very important. I think throughout my life, number two was very, I actually did number two quite often, and we'll get to that here in a second. I don't want to tease you guys or gals or whatever, but I want to get to it. But how did you guys like number one? Do you agree or disagree with the constant realization of the opportunities around you? You have to be in tune, open up your eyes, and see what people are doing, right? What are they wearing? What are they doing? What's in their hands? You have to look at that kind of stuff, and then you can kind of figure out, like, how could my product or service benefit that person in their life? Very, very important. Lucky says, great topic, Chris. See you at ACL. I will be there at ACL tomorrow with this hat on. So I might be the only person in ACL with this hat on. They sold it last year, but it sold out really quick in like the first 3 hours or something like that. I was lucky enough to get one. I think there's a purple model out there as well that I never got my hands on, but this is a cool hat. I like it a lot. It's one of my favorite hats. And tomorrow it's going to be sunny, nice, and the what is the equivalent of a Lollapalooza or Bonnaroo or any of those festivals, those big ones, the 3-day festivals. That's what's coming to Austin, Texas. And it's basically 2 weekends of just all these bands. It's really fun. So anyway, I'm in constant realization of all the bands that are going to be around tomorrow. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so we have people watching, And tons of peeps. Kent Daigle saying laptops are still very popular. That's right. Like I said, with content creators, they're very popular. With people that are business oriented, of course. Anyone that's doing territory coverage, call coverage, jet setters, those obviously laptops are extremely popular. But with that being said, the majority of consumers are switching to smaller things, typically tablets and typically cell phones. So not switching, but they're just maximizing on those two things before they consider anything else. Okay, so let's talk about number 2, which is very important. Okay, so you got to reflect in your life and ask yourself, and you can start now, it's not a big deal, but take time to know yourself. I don't think a lot of people ever take the time to know themselves. Sometimes people just kind of mold themselves to what other people might like. They mold themselves into whatever the circumstance is at that time. They mold themselves into what they see on media and TV, television, but they never take a chance to actually take time to know themselves inside, like what makes you tick, what makes you go, what makes you happy. It's very important, right? Don't live in a world where people decide what you become. Live in a world where you decide what you do, right? What you make of yourself. And it's very easy to get sucked into the first world, which is everything having to do with social media, everything having to do with, TV, which is getting outpaced. Everything that has to do with Netflix or Hulu. All this stuff paints a reality that in most cases doesn't exist, but just make sure you take time to know you. And it's very important to see, I think when I talk to people and I've asked them, even in the workout field and all that kind of stuff in the fitness field, because clearly I'm proficient and I know what the hell I'm talking about in that field. But I ask people, what motivates you? You can tell. I can tell when I have a client, right, which is very rare nowadays. I'll take a client usually if it's referred to me, but I can tell when someone's going to make it and when someone's not going to make it, right? You can tell when someone's motivated and when someone really wants the results, and you can tell when someone just knows that they have to get in shape for something really stupid. It's usually something like a trip, or it's a wedding picture, or something dumb, like really dumb. If that's what motivates you, as a short-term, ridiculous goal like that, you might get there, right? But you'll relapse back into the same you, if not a worse you, basically. So I think it's important to take time to figure out your weaknesses, like what you're really, really good at, what naturally makes you get up and enjoy life. That's really important. You got to start looking into yourself. There's some people that are like, well, I got 10 things that make me happy. You have to really scale it back and look back and go, what really though makes me happy? Absolutely, I wouldn't mind doing 80 hours a week doing this, right? Something that makes you absolutely happy. Now, people are going to go ahead and say that's passion, which is true. But I think a lot of people's, I think this is written already for, I think by the time you're 30, it's absolutely written. By the time you're 20, maybe you're molding a little bit, but sometimes it's at your 20, in your 20s, it's already written as well. And you have to be able to tune out all that other stuff in order to listen inwards and go, what really makes me happy? Am I in a happy place right now? Or am I just kind of doing this to make some money? Or am I just kind of doing this because my friends think I'm cool? What really makes you happy? I think it's very, very important. So Kent Daigle is saying self-made, eye of the tiger, know your skill set. Absolutely. But even before that, something naturally makes you oh yeah, that's fun. It doesn't matter what it is. Well, let me retract a little bit. It does matter a little bit what it is, because some things you just can't make money on, right? No matter how much you scale it. But what makes you tick? If what makes you tick, let me give you another classic example. There's certain things that are out of reach. Doesn't matter what age you're at. Genetically, some things might be out of reach, such as trying to become a professional football player and you're rated 30. That's out of reach. Doesn't matter how many football games you watch, how many videos you dissect, all that kind of stuff. Probably not going to happen, right? But without those, with the exception of those things, I think people are motivated by certain things, right? They love building cars. They love household stuff. They love changing, they're absolutely amazing at putting security systems in a house for some reason. There's just little things like that. Now that can make money. You can either build a physical company. Let's take the security system example guy, who just loves wiring a house with a security system. You can absolutely build a business out of that with workers, with trucks, with everything that you need. You could also build an online video database on how to do it yourself. You could even sell the parts, get them from China, and put them together piece by piece. You can do the whole modular thing or whatever, but you can kind of sell these things like that too. I mean, if you have proficiency, it will show. So there's a lot of stuff like that. There are a lot of people that maybe they don't want to like pay $1,000 for an install. They'd rather try to tackle it themselves, much like the market of people that want to build their own table, but there might be a hole where no one's doing how-to videos on that kind of stuff. No one's doing troubleshooting on those kind of things. And those are ways that you can make yourself seen, right? There's ways, but you're going to have to work. I mean, that's the main thing. You're going to have to work. You're going to have to take time to know you. But if it's something that you're clearly passionate about, the work kind of just happens, right? So Ken Daigle's saying something that I think we've all heard, which says work at what you love and you'll never have a job again. That's right. Do what you love and you'll never have to work again. I guess that's the other one that we always hear. But I'm going to close this number 2 out with, if you're left alone, what do you end up doing, right? If you're completely alone, you're bored, there's nothing to watch on TV, there's nothing this, nothing that, like, what do you gravitate towards? It's very important. What do you whip out? You whip out your laptop or your phone or your tablet. Like, what do you start researching? What is it? Because you're attracted to that for some reason, right? And you have to look at it in months and years perspective. Like, what do you always seem to go back to? It's not like, if you just take me, I'd be like, okay, well, I love skateboards because I was just like researching skateboards the other day and I want to buy another skateboard. I don't need another skateboard, but this one has a certain way it turns and it's better for me, But in the grand scheme of things, I'm an amazing flipper. I'm a good hustler. My other strength is I can read people. I can relate to people. And my last strength is I really like to work out. So no matter what I do in life, if I really want to make it big in life, if I really want to make an impact in people's lives, I probably don't want to stray away from those 3 things because that just comes naturally to me. So anyway, I don't know if that makes sense, but I think it does. I hope it does. What did you guys think about number 2? We got 29 viewers in the house. We got 16 upvotes, 2 downvotes. That's 18. We have 11 people that have not hit the like button or the dislike button. So help a hustler out and do me a solid, man. Do me a finger down there and hit that like button if you like the content, okay? Number 3 is pretty good too. I think you're gonna like number 3. We have some remarks in the comments right now from Oz Worldwide. Dude, I don't know who's my best friend today, okay? But my best friend typically is someone that comments a lot in the feed, someone that has automatically liked the video, and someone that just puts insightful things in the feed. So here we go. We have Oz Worldwide that says, happy Friday evening, bona fide hustler. Hey man, Friday Eve? I thought it was Thursday Eve. Anyway, is it Friday? No, it's Thursday. I'm pretty sure. If it's Friday, then I should be at ACL right now. Like, it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday festival. So anyway, Lucky says, Chris, I realize you flip just about everything. Pretty versatile. Yeah, I like being versatile because you just never know when one of those things will get swept out from under you or the market will crash or anything like that. Same thing with stocks and investments. You wouldn't want to put all your money into Apple, right? Because who knows? Like, do you really know the Apple CEO, the CFO, and all the people under them? Like, how do you know they're not going to screw you like Enron? You don't know anything, right? Because you're just the person at the bottom. So you have to diversify. That's just the rule of life. You have to diversify because at any moment, another Enron can happen with any other company out there, any other bank, anything. So you got to be real careful. John Hardesty, hey, what's up, man? It's a good friend of mine right here. He's in the green room. It says it's hard to find things while driving trucks. Dude, honestly, a lot of the brainstorming that I ever do in life will be when I'm driving. Like, the craziest brainstorms occur when I drive. I don't care if I'm in traffic or I'm just chilling out. I was going to give you guys this tip I'll give you a tip real quick. I tend, and these are the 2 vehicles that I own. I own a Prius and I own a 4Runner, right? Both of which, the 4Runner is not a fast vehicle. The Prius is not a fast vehicle either. They're not meant to be driven fast. One's for gas savings, and the other one's for straight up utility. And yeah, it sucks up gas, right? But both those vehicles we own, my wife and I. And it's one of those things where when I worked for corporate America, I don't know why, but when I got a company car, which was a solid 9 years of my life, had a company car. I didn't treat it as good as whatever I had on the side, whether it be a Jeep, a Corvette, Xterra, Land Cruiser, whatever, like my other car. I would always have another car, a motorcycle, or whatever, a boat. When I have my own stuff, then I'm like, oh, I really don't want to mess with like upkeep or like all that kind of stuff. So when I drive around now, right, and this is just how I brainstorm better, is I will sit in the slow lane or the middle lane, right, and I'll just hook it at like a certain decent speed. Typically, sometimes it's cruise control, sometimes it's not. It just depends on the time of day. And I'll just sit there, but I'll hardly ever be in the fast lane, just because in the fast lane I'm constantly thinking about, all right, someone behind me, how do I get around this guy, like all that kind of stuff. And I've really, in the past 5 years, um, ever since I left corporate America, which was 2008, so even more than that, gosh, for like the last forever, it seems like now, when I started owning my own cars and everything, I really realized, like, man, driving fast is like super stupid. Increase wear and tear on your tires, increase wear and tear on your engine. You don't get a chance to brainstorm either. Like, you're usually just listening to music and that's it. So what I've adopted now is I just kind of just chill in the slow lane, right? I just make the cars at like 2,000 RPM, or barely even 3, and it's just chilling there, right? And I get to think about all kinds of stuff while the entire world just flies by me, and I like that. I do. And my wife doesn't get it yet, but when she's in the slow lane with me and we're just chilling and we're talking, like, she never says like, why don't you go faster or anything like that. We have a better conversation. It's safer, right? If I have to make an evasive maneuver, I'm going slower, so it's easier to do. So yeah, I think it's one of those things that, take my word for it, it's definitely something that has improved my life. And I think it can definitely help you guys out. But that's not number 3. That was just something on a side note that I wanted to tell you guys, in order to brainstorm more, actually digest what you're listening to on the radio or podcast or whatever. Sometimes you really have to get your mind away from stupid things like driving super fast or weaving in and out of traffic, just being really dumb. That stuff eventually will catch up to you in some way. It'll catch up to you with like increased car repairs, tires having to be changed every 30,000 miles instead of every 50. In certain ways, it'll catch up to you. Speeding tickets, accidents, you gotta be really, really careful. So anyway, it's not that I'm going old, right? Because I chose to do that. I'm not just doing it because, like, I chose that route. And, one day if I ever get a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, then yeah, I might drive that fast. But likely I'm probably just going to be modest and just chill with whatever I have. That's kind of like how my parents were. They're very, I wouldn't say wealthy, but they're well off. And throughout life, the flashiest car my dad ever had was like a Supra, right? Like an 80s Supra or something. And the flashiest truck we ever had was a 4Runner, right? So that's it. It's not even flashy, right? It's just a normal car. So anyway, the funny thing is my dad went flashy for like a year. He went with a BMW for a year back in the 80s. He had one of those 3 Series, and like all the doctors were like cruising around in 3 Series and all this stuff. And so he was like, fine. He finally buys one. And on multiple occasions, and I don't know why this happened, but, well, I know why it happened, but like, he would shut the door and the rear window would just blow out, like completely just shattered to pieces. And so it was really embarrassing. He was like, I'm fed up with this stupid BMW, like, doing that. So ever notice when you shut car doors, the majority of them will come down a little bit, right? It's air pressure. So anyway, it happened like 3 times and he was like, that's it. I'm done with this car. I don't care how flashy it is. I don't have to compare myself. And he ended up buying, I forgot what after that. I think that's when he got the Supra after that. So BMW says big money waste. Yeah, look, that's the one vehicle I've test driven them, and there was a time in my life where I wanted one. I got close to pulling the trigger on that. Got close to pulling the trigger on a Porsche, and I just didn't. I couldn't justify the money. I couldn't justify that, and then did my research and was like, ugh, I don't know if I want to get into this. I just don't. So I didn't do it, but I test drove them, and I was close. I was really close. So anyway, let's get to number 3. Let's get to number 3, which is be a sponge. This is really important. I think people that are sponges win in life, no matter what you are. Like, wherever life will head, you will be happy if you're a sponge, right? It doesn't matter if money is involved or not involved. When you become a sponge, people like you. So what does it mean to be a sponge? Well, a sponge, if you think about it in an actual physical aspect, it's something that soaks up a bunch of stuff, right? And that's what you got to go around life doing too. You got to go around soaking up people and what they're into. You know, remember number one where I said constant realization of opportunities. You have to like visually look at everyone, right, and see what's in their hands, see what they're wearing, like what's the current trend, all that kind of stuff. And that from there, you can kind of determine like, can my product or service be sold to them or adopted by these kind of people, right? Now that's just from a far perspective. Once you get closer to people, right, within talking distance, that's where being a sponge is very important. That's where, naturally being interested in other people than yourself makes you win in life. So this is one of those things that I have done since probably high school. I think right around sixth or seventh grade, I wasn't a sponge. I was and then eighth grade, I was like, you know what, I'm tired of not being a sponge. And then around high school, I became a sponge, right? And a sponge, talking to all the girls, talking to all the guys, like talking to all the cliques, not singling out anybody, even that pale person in the back of the classroom with all too much gel in his hair. Like I was just a sponge because I figured everyone had something interesting to talk about. And clearly, at the end of that, whatever social experiment was, and it's still ongoing, that honestly, everyone's got something fantastic, right? But you're going to have to figure out what it is. And in order to do that, you have to be a sponge. You have to, right? You have to be able to like take down your walls and take in what they're telling you, right? Take in their content, whatever they're saying to you, whatever. So in order to be a sponge, here's a couple tips, right? Get interested, drop whatever interests you. If you're around someone, just forget your prerogative, forget your mission, forget all that, and just like hear the person out. It's very important. Um, People call this tuning yourself out, which I think is interesting because most of the times in life you tune the other person out. That's just human nature now. With as much digital consumption and crap is coming our way, for some reason people are just too busy to like talk to each other anymore. It's just really sad. So be able to tune yourself out and what makes you tick, whatever makes you super happy, and give someone else your time, right? If you can't give money, or if you can't give, something else, like give someone else at least your ear, right? Like give them your time, right? I think it's very important. And the way you can do that, in order to be a sponge, two best ways you can do it is once you're absolutely talking to somebody and you've dropped your walls. One is ask open-ended questions. These are questions where the person that you're trying to sponge from can't say yes or no, or say a number like 1, 2, 3, or 4. These are questions that, as opposed to saying, so it made you feel like crap, right? And the person's like, yeah. That's not an open-ended question. That's a closed-ended question, right? Because there's only one way out. There are two ways out of it, and they're all closed. The conversation stops at that point, and you keep talking. Now you can say, man, I've been there before and it hurt. Like, how does that feel to you? Sorry, my dogs are barking. Now that will incite a different response, right? And the response being open-ended, I mean, the question can just go to everything. Like you can go in so many different directions, and a yes or a no is almost improper on the other party to deliver your direction, right? Saying a yes or no is just like, okay, I don't want to be that guy. Or anyway, my dogs are really barking loud. Anyway, it's probably going to be like that for a while. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. So, and then the other part is like, if you're doing ask open-ended questions and you're doing it right, you should be talking about 20% of the time, and the other party should be talking 80% of the time. So it's very important to realize who's doing the talking in the conversation. Okay, because if your goal is to be a sponge, you want to hear the other person's story, or get the best tidbits out of their life or whatever. You have to be able to be really close to shutting up, basically, but speaking enough to get open-ended questions out. Okay, so yeah, leading questions, open-ended questions, leading questions. These are all sales terminology type stuff that I learned in corporate America a long time ago. But honestly, if you think about it, it's totally the right. I mean, I learned about it even before corporate America. I was learning it in my Circuit City days. And when I was selling audio video equipment, it was just one of those things. Actually, naturally, even with women in college, I was doing open-ended questions. It's just my style, I guess. I really found people really fascinating. Male or female, it doesn't really matter. I thought it was just one of the things that was almost a gift, I guess. So anyway, Oz Worldwide says, I agree totally, BH. If you don't agree with any of this kind of stuff, this is not one of these like one-sided shows where like it's only my opinion and that's all that matters. It's not that. So if you disagree with something, there are two ways you can get heard. You can hit the thumbs down button, right? And then the other way is to just put a comment like, I disagree with what you said, and that's fine too. I mean, that's what a conversation is. A conversation is not just like awesome, awesome the whole way through. Sometimes there's criticism, right? Sometimes there's rebuttals, or or you're not right. So I'm not saying I'm right, but I'm just trying to dish you guys out some really good information that you can take to your own life, sit back one day and go, you know what, maybe he's like right about something, right? Maybe I am. It seems to have worked out for me very well. So anyway, what's up, Rakin? Good to see you, man. Okay, so the fourth one. You guys ready for the fourth one? Who is ready for the fourth one? I'm all nervous because Steve's in here. Not. Lucky says, what kind of dogs do I have, Chris? I have 3 dogs. One is a Rottweiler mix or a Coonhound or whatever. It's a medium one, about 40 pounds. The other one's a medium one, about 40 pounds. It's a Beagle mix. And then the other one's a Chiweenie, which is like a Chihuahua / wiener dog. Story behind all 3, well, 2 of them, because one came from my relationship with Whitney, my wife. When she moved from North Carolina, she brought Roxy with her. Beautiful dog. Love it. Love her, not it. The Chiweenie I found on a busy road in Austin, Texas, just running on the side, right? It was on the side part with all the nails and the little tacks and the cigarette butts. And I'm like, dude, I don't want your feet to get hurt. Jump in my car. And so he jumped in my van, and off we went, right into a magical rest of his life. And he's still alive. So I don't even know how old Peter is. That's his name, Peter, which is kind of funny because when people see Peter, they're like, I got to tell you something really funny. When I took Peter to California, I took him to La Jolla, which is a very touristy part of the coastline. It's beautiful. There's like seals out there and all this stuff. And people were like, oh, pretty dog. And it's like the stereotypical Japanese people with like the hat that looks like a fisherman's hat, kind of like with the camera that they're like strapped around their neck. And they got like, it's just super tourist, right? I mean, it couldn't be more touristy looking than these people or this genre, I guess. And they come up and like, oh, I like your dog, cute. I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, And they're like, what is his name? And I'm like, Peter. And they're like, Peter. Hey, let's take a picture with Peter. And I'm like, oh. They're like, can I touch your Peter? And I was like, yeah, you can touch my Peter. That's cool. Whatever, like. So anyway, kind of funny. That's the story of Peter, and everyone loves Peter in the cul-de-sac. Anyone that's ever known me loves Peter. I love my Peter. And then the other dog I have is named Austin, and Austin was one of these dogs that was very cute, right? But when we first saw him, I was kind of like, let's walk faster, right? And let me explain it quickly before I get to number 5 here. But we were garage sailing, my girlfriend at that time and I, which is my wife now, but we were garage sailing and having a great day. And then we were done with garage sales, like, okay, we're done. Let's go get some breakfast tacos. And we went to Whole Foods. And outside of Whole Foods, there were those little kennels, like not kennels, but the little gates with the cute dogs, and it's a little pet rescue place and everything like that. And we pull up, and I immediately noticed Whitney looking at the dog, or just this one dog. And she's like, oh, he's cute. And then the person behind's like, well, make sure you do the little, sanitizer thing before you touch him. And so she's like, squirt, does this. And I'm like, oh crap. Like, let's hurry up and get these tacos. And I'm like, she's like, but don't you want to hold it? I'm like, I mean, it's a dog. Like, I've seen a billion dogs. Like, I don't know if we need another dog. And I knew the second that dog would lay in Whitney's lap, that was game over. Like, I was like, oh my God, let's get these tacos. And let's get the hell out of here. Like, we're literally about to take on a huge liability. But yeah, so it sat in her lap, nibbled on her finger, and we got tacos and a dog, basically. So now fast forward, Austin's an amazing dog, like completely different personality. I love dogs. I freaking love them. And Austin is just awesome. So I don't know who's my best friend out of all 3, but they all do very well around each other. So anyway, okay, we got 33 viewers. 31 upvotes, 1 downvote. Guys, thanks a lot. That's a lot of people listening right here and listening to what I'm suggesting them to do. Okay, so number 4. I think this is important. And something from one of my trading partners back in the day kind of echoed in on this whole thing. But the 4th thing is share your journey and your secrets. I think this is important. This is where the Bonafide Hustler channel, I think, did well. Same with Rake and Profits channel. Same with College Pickers channel. Well, when it was a channel, because he hasn't put much content on it there lately. But and anyone else that goes on YouTube that's sharing information, right? Sharing information willingly, not thinking like, well, it's going to collapse the market and we're going to die. Like, not like that, but sharing it with really not seeing what's coming in return, but just doing it for the goodness of making people happy, putting money on their plate, somewhere else in the world, someone else now can make a car payment based upon your knowledge. And that's what really started my channel out. My channel was a combination of 2 things. One was I was writing a book called Flip That Shh, right? We know what that book is called. I was writing a book about flipping and how to do it and how it's done so well for me. And I thought the perfect vehicle to get it out to the world would be YouTube, because one of my friends had a YouTube channel, a very popular one, that was doing toy reviews, okay? And he's like, bro, if you're building a book, there's no other way to get noticed than to be on YouTube. And I was like, okay. So I took his advice, bought a camera, started filming videos, and had a book halfway written. And that was the 2 things that was like bringing me to YouTube. Like, I wanted to share my journey and I wanted people to buy my book. The book did well, right? It did well. It still sells to this day, just not as fast, right? Because clearly I've almost outgrown the book, right, in ways. And I think that my channel in itself, with all the free videos, has done a huge service to the people out there that have followed my tips. And I get messages every single day, like, it's usually like, man, help me out with this, or you demand, like, love your information. Really good things. And I've been getting those messages for the past 3-4 years. I mean, as soon as that channel started, I was getting those messages, but like now it's really, really coming through. And who would have ever known that the green room was going to follow in the future and all this amazing stuff, that I even get a chance to meet Eric, right? Or meet Raken, or meet Yong, or meet any of the people I've ever met in one of the hangouts, physically. Like, it's just crazy. So, and I think it comes down to the fact that I shared my journey and I shared my secrets. See, a lot of people keep secrets really close to them. And there's some life secrets that, if you take an oath to hear a secret, you don't ever tell that secret to anybody else. But I'm not taking any oaths to any of these thrifting secrets. So I can dish them out whenever I want to. So I want to make it clear that there are definitely 2 types of secrets out there. There's some that you absolutely don't tell anybody. And then there are the others where, or should I say, there's just one type of secret that you should keep. And that's the one where, like, you promise someone that you won't tell, right? All the other ones, like, oh, I got a honey hole, I'm not going to tell anyone about it, right? Like, or I've got this amazing thing that I learned and I'm not going to tell anyone about it because I don't want any competition. Like, see, this is the problem, though, is that's a very hoarding type, greed type philosophy. And the more times that you hone in on that type of philosophy, the more you become that. And that's not good. So definitely share your journey and your secrets. And my trader friend back in the day told me, he's like, man, it doesn't matter like how much you tell them, or like, it doesn't matter like what videos you record and what ride-alongs that you're on. Who cares if they see the background, and who cares if they see what part of town you like to go to? Like, who cares? He's like, the only way someone becomes your competition in this world is if they do it exactly the same way you did it and better. And I was like, well, that's pretty awesome. Like, that makes a whole lot of sense, though. You can give people the greatest secrets in the world, but it's up to them and their inner motivation to execute it, to get better than you. And quite honestly, if someone does it better than me, I acknowledge it. I'm like, well, that's great. Like, it's a free market. That's just what the market's all about. Anytime you hear the word market, it's usually an efficiency type mechanism where the best person wins. It could be for a prolonged period of time, or it could be for a very short period of time. But either way, the best person has worked their way to the top. And so I always look back and go, you know what? It's very important. Share your journey, share your secrets. No one is you, right? You do it a certain way. and everyone else is going to do it their own way too. And I think that's the reason why my channel did well, is because I wasn't afraid to tell anyone or tell my secrets out there, or like what the hell I was hustling, even to this day, like what am I buying, all this stuff, because I am the one with the certain risk tolerance. I'm the one that determines this and that determines that. I'm the one who decides when to thrift. And there's enough to go around too. Like I've noticed that, like, gosh, these videos go, we had a guy from Italy yesterday in our video, Italy and Puerto Rico and Canada. Like these videos go very far. I think it's safe to say that there's enough for everyone out there, right? And so I go with this philosophy of not scarcity, because we all know that a scarcity mindset will get you nowhere in life, but an abundance mindset. And an abundance mindset is much better to always try to live by, where you realize like good things are going to happen to you no matter what you do. Share your stuff. Be generous, right? Be generous, even down to like maybe the homeless person on the street. You got some change that's really annoying in your cup in your car. Guess who wants the change, right? The homeless person on the corner. So just look at it from an abundance mindset, and that each person has a great story, but be happy for other people's success as well. I think that's really, really important. Like you share secrets. I'm super happy when I get messages on Facebook, which is like every single day now. Bonafide Hustler, you helped me here, you helped me there, you the man. Like I love those messages. I love them. I have handwritten notes like sitting on this board right here from subscribers, right? One of which I know is in the green room, but from 12/23/2014, another one February 16th of 2016, another one's a postcard, right? I have this stuff just sitting there because it's not that I need reminding, right? It's just that I value these people a whole lot, and I just like looking at it every now and then. So just one of those things. I think it's just the proof that I shared my stuff. So anyway. Okay, so let's get to number 5 here in a second. John Hardesty says there's plenty. Not everyone wants to resell for a living, but most just want to work and buy, and that's fine. Even if you do it a little bit and you make 50 bucks and it came because of one of my videos or Rakin's videos or Chad or Hearts Picker or whoever else, right? The fact that you can replicate that and do it at your own time and at your own level is very important. Scale it up as much as you want, scale it down as much as you want. But like I said, no one's ever going to be you. So sharing a secret, you should never be like, oh, they're just going to take everything. Like no one's ever going to be you. No one's going to have your drive. No one's going to have your motivation. And no one's going to have your failures too, right? So where you might fail, someone might completely succeed. So you have to understand that sharing is everything, and you'll get a lot in return if you share more, right? You hoard more, you get nothing in return. You get your immediate whatever you hoarded, but the repercussions later are immense. So, okay, we have one more thing to talk about. Mises Pieces has a question dealing with one of our admins. Our business and the admin in question, we've decided to go separate ways, and I'll leave it at that. And it was just a business decision, so I don't want anything other than that to be said. But still friends, all that kind of stuff. It was just that's just the answer. I don't want to sugarcoat it. That's just that. I would respect if everyone just took that as the answer. Number 5. So here we go. Always encourage people when they embark or have goals. When they embark on a goal or have goals, right? And the reason why I say that is because it's very, very rare that when you have a goal or some great idea or whatever, like, man, I got to tell you, like, I don't know if you guys agree with me or not, but there are probably 90% of like your favorite people, your best friends, your family, acquaintances, whatever, that are just going to try to shoot you down. Now, for whatever reason, I don't know, right? I don't know, because I don't ever want to adopt a hater mentality or whatever, or just like a mentality of scarcity, right? But I'm talking like straight up Shark Tank type ideas, like great ideas that like you're motivated by and that you just keep thinking about it, like those kind of things. So whenever you come across a friend, family member, whatever, that has a great idea, right? Instead of trying to take it apart and like F it all up, right? I mean, just encourage them, right? Encourage them, and when they have goals or big things, just realize, man, like it's like very few people in this world like actually have goals anymore. Like they're just driven by what the world tells them to do. So for someone to think differently and to go against the grain, be unconventional, is getting more and more rare, right? It really is. So, when people embark on their own things, like encourage them, be there for them. It doesn't mean that you can't help them out, right? You can rationalize with them. You can do the advantages versus disadvantages on whatever their idea is. And it doesn't mean anything other than you're providing a little bit of support, maybe concern, but at the same time, maybe that you might think they didn't cover every angle, right? And so be willing to support them in covering the angles that need to be covered, especially if you know more than they do. If you don't know more than they do, that's very tough, right? Because you're providing advice where you don't know what the hell you're talking about. So be careful with that too. But most importantly, don't shut down, right? When someone has a great idea, don't be like shut down and go reclusive and go, damn, that's really good. I should have thought about that. Then you pull away from your friend, and make sure you hear your friends out. I think it's very important. Friends, family, just hear them out, dissect it with them, help them. I think that's important because there are 90% of the people out there won't do that, or they're going to try everything in their power to like make sure that the mistake doesn't happen, what they think is a mistake, right? So everything amazing in this world, for one of the Steve Jobs quotes, not before he died, just something he always said was, two types of people, right? One type plays in the world, and the other type builds the world. Depends on what you want to be, but there are only two types of people. I thought that was really cool because you're right. Every time you pick up your iPhone, right, that was someone's idea. That was an idea from somebody that shaped the world, and you're playing within the world. That's something that you adopted. You play with it all the time, do business on it, whatever. But there are two types of people, right? The people that play with it usually end up consuming, spending money, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. The people at the other end ended up being probably massively rich, probably having a lot of headaches, a lot of torn and busted up relationships because, the hunger and the need to succeed was so crazy. There's a lot of things. It's hard to say who gets the better end of the stick in that one, right? But it is important to realize that there are two people in this world. There are the people that create it and the people that play in the world. So no matter where you shake out, doesn't mean you're bad or good. It just means that, drive is one crazy thing when it comes to people. Like people's drive, once you get, when you get around someone that's driven, if you're on board, you better hold on tight. If you're the driven one, you better realize some of the repercussions that come with it, because as much as everyone admires that, there are always repercussions for working too hard, always. So anyway, that's pretty much the show, guys. I started at 4:45. We're at 5:35. So, almost about an hour. I like to keep it brief, somewhat succinct, to where you guys get some great value out of it. If you have any kind of questions, if I can answer them, I will. We have some people echoing in here. Kent Daigle says Elon Musk. Yeah, there you go, Elon Musk. Texas Hustle says, learn to close off the negativity around you. That's right, man. The negativity around you wants to bleed in so bad, but if you're good at closing things out, guess what? You can put up that wall real quick. That's a good kind of wall, honestly, because negative people, man, I don't have any time for that in my life. I've never had time for negative people, never. And as I got older in life, and as I am now, I realize how bad of a trait that is. It's so terrible. I don't think you would have to be around someone so negative, and you really realize how bad it gets. And I've been around people like that, and it is absolutely like social raid, right? Raid being the roach spray, It's like social raid. Like if you want no friends in life, become negative and become a hater. Watch what happens. I'm telling you right now, like nobody gets to be negative and treat people like crap and gets to have a ton of friends and a ton of prosperity. It don't happen. I'm sorry. It just doesn't happen. So, Kent Dago says, people like to see you succeed, just not pass them. Hey, that's a great statement. That's true. Most people are kind of like that, right? Really depends on how you view life, man. Oz Worldwide says sharing is caring. Mises Pieces says respect. Yeah. So Anyway, here's one from Stone Mason. I like this one. Focusing on the competition will create mistakes that the competition will profit from. You're absolutely right. You can take a look at the infamous picture between Phelps and that one dude that was swimming beside him. You know, you're supposed to be going straight. Your body's supposed to be going straight down the water. This dude's like turning his head, looking at Phelps. His aerodynamic drag is probably greatly increased at that point. You know, just watching someone passing by. But that was an infamous picture that was just like, you know, you're either focused on your goal or you're focused on the person that has a goal. So very, very important. Don't become the other swimmer. It's a disease. Don't be negative. Kent Dago, I love your attitude, man. I love it, dude. It's right. Do not be negative. Don't let any negativity get in your life whatsoever. And also another super little tiny micro side note, it comes down to sometimes even the music you listen to will turn you into driving faster, right? Being a little bit more negative. Down to the stuff that you consume on a daily basis, right? If you're consuming tons of Reddit and tons of what would Tyler Durden do? I don't know if you know the website, but you know what I'm talking about. Tons of this and tons of that, and then you start becoming that, right? You become sarcastic in life and like, I got the wittiest jokes in the whole world, like. But then no one likes a truly super sarcastic guy all the time. Like that's just, I wouldn't say it's just as bad as being negative, but it's not attractive, right? When someone cannot hone in on being serious for 1 second and they're just sarcastic all the time, it's cool for like 2 seconds, and then after that you're like, this person's an idiot, like basically. So anyway, Mises Pieces, Kent is Bonafide's new best friend today. I think that's probably an accurate statement, Mises Pieces. Kent Daigle, you are my best friend today, providing the best content in the feed. Love it, man. Yeah. So Comfort Zone Studio says some people are so negative they could walk into a dark room and start to develop. That's pretty funny. So yeah. Anyway, hey guys, it's really good to see you, right? And do me a favor, if you watch this later, or hey, if you're part of the Bonafide Brigade, man, you really want to support me, hit this video after it's done, like even after you've watched it again and again and again, like just keep watching it, right? Helps me out. It'll rank the video higher, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I really appreciate, it's a beautiful evening here in Austin, Texas. I have a bit of a big question to ask my audience, but I won't do it on this show. I think it will be done on a Periscope, so something very brief. And so it's a really big question I have to ask my audience. Like, I want to do it so bad. I should just do it, but like, it's always good to get some feedback first, real quick, but I'm not going to ask it here. So if you're on Periscope today, probably I'll ask that question. And, look out for number 3, right? If we get enough likes on this show, I'm going to do number 3. Definitely will. Yeah, support your favorite YouTubers. Do good things in life. Stay positive. And if you got something that's like burning inside you and you want to create something amazing, gosh, I'm telling you, hit me, raking up, hit someone up. Just surround yourself with really good people, right? Listen to a ton of podcasts. Just get inspired. Tune out all the crappy stuff in the world, the stuff that's going to drain you, and start becoming a sponge, right? Like bring in all the good stuff. I think you guys will do fine. Last remark from Oz Worldwide. Great show, Bonafide Hustler. Your positive energy, you, Raken, and CP are killing it. Thanks for the awesome content. Guys, it's good to see you. If you came at the last part of the show, watch the whole thing. It's worth it. And if you really like this show and you didn't see episode 1, you'll see it on my channel and likely the entire time it's been up here on a banner if you're watching on a laptop. So, but there is a video 1 as well. This is video 2. I'll see you on video 3 if we hit this like button and we get it right. Video 3 is coming out. See you later, guys. Bye.